Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jermika, and for all of my subscribers, thank you for subscribing. And to all of the newbies, welcome, welcome, welcome. So today I want to address the subject of my breast cancer journey. So about a week ago, I asked my Facebook friends and family to go on and ask questions that they have always wanted to ask me during my breast cancer journey, or they would like to ask now. So I suggest that if you are a survivor like myself of 5 years, yes, or a caregiver to a breast cancer patient or a breast cancer patient, this video is for you. So in a moment, I'm going to go to my phone and pull up my Facebook page and look at the questions that was submitted. Number one, once again, I am a 5-year breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2014, and I was a 5-year survivor last year on May 14th, 2019. I went through a right breast. That was the only side that had the breast cancer. I had a right breast mastectomy. I did that. That was the first step. Then I followed that up with chemo, followed up by radiation. That was my treatment course. Once again, I had a right breast mastectomy. I had chemo, and I believe that I did chemo for 6 months, I believe. And followed up by radiation. I also received for 1 year a treatment by the name of Herceptin, which is when you are HER positive, which means your cancer was driven by estrogen, hormonal estrogen, and it was a little bit more aggressive, so it required a third treatment intravenously. But Herceptin is nothing like chemo. I'm just giving you the course of action that was taken. Everyone's treatment is usually different because it is all based on which type of breast cancer you have, the aggressiveness of the breast cancer, and then personal choice. You always have the right to decline treatment. So I chose to do the right breast only mastectomy. I chose to do the chemo and radiation as well as the Herceptin. So I'm going to pull up my Facebook page, and I will be right back to get started on answering those questions. Okay, I am back. I have pulled up my Facebook page and I have my questions in front of me. So I will be looking down at my phone and then coming back to face you guys to answer the question. Please excuse the noise in the background. My neighbor's dog is going a little cray-cray. So my first question about breast cancer survivorship, and my new normal is, this is by Alyssa, and the question is, how are you able to detox after treatment and restore your energy levels? Great question. I would say the best way to answer this is to, number one, state that chemo takes time to get out of your body. It goes in fast, but it takes a while for it to come out, at least the effects of it. So number one was patience, because I had to understand that this was a chemical that was put in my body. So I have to be patient to know and understand the process of it getting out of my body. As far as detoxing, during chemo and after chemo, I went on clean eating. Of course, I had my moments, but for the most part, I did green vegetables, I did fruit, lots of fish, shrimp. I could not do any raw, so I wasn't able to do things like sushi, which is my fave, and oysters, my other fave. I did ground chicken. I've never been a big fan of chicken. I like it, but it's not my fave. Therefore, I was able to just do my ground chicken. And I put that in a lot of vegetables like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, things of that nature. My mother and I did a lot of research, mainly my mother, on foods that help with cancer. I suggest that if you or someone else you know or caring for is going through breast cancer treatment or any type of cancer treatment, please use your resources. Please use your hospital resources. There are libraries in the hospitals. Google, YouTube, anything at your convenience that will give you, I'm sorry, anything at your access, not convenience, at your access that will give you information about things to do and not to do. Also, your doctors will give you, your nurse more so, because that's who you will spend the majority of your time talking about your treatment and things to do and not do during treatment and after treatment, will be able to give you great information as well. So back to the question at hand. I did clean eating. I tried to watch my processed foods that I was intaking. That's very important. Also, I had to watch out for the hormones that cause my cancer that still reside in meats, some dairy, and other forms of food. So I had to watch my soy, things of that nature, to make sure that I'm not intaking any of those things. I also consume more water because they will tell you that water helps to get the chemo out of your body after your treatment. So after you complete your treatment, and this again, I am not a doctor, I'm only speaking of my own personal experience. So please do not take the things that I'm saying to be a treatment course. Please consult with your doctor and your treatment team. So I'm only speaking of what I did. So after treatment, I would drink a lot of water because that would help you urinate, and that would help, the chemo come out. There have been talks about that not being true, but hey, I erred on the side of caution with all of the things that I heard. I felt like, hey, it can't hurt anything. It's water. And I also consulted with someone on my medical team. I cannot remember if it was a doctor or the nurse, but they said, yeah, I mean, it helps because it, of course, keeps you hydrated. It keeps, it lets the toxins pass through from the chemo. So that's another way to detox, is to consume lots of water. Yes, they say that the best is the alkaline water, which I tried alkaline for a very long time, but for me, it did not work. There's a small amount of sodium in alkaline water, and this is the alkaline water that I purchased was from HEB. I did not go to the, I think it's called the Living Tree or something of that nature, that has what they call to be pure alkaline water. So therefore, the alkaline that I had came from my local grocery store, which, it has alkaline levels in it. I'm not quite sure the amount. That's what I did, and I tried it for a while, but I was noticing that the sodium in the water, and it's a small amount, but my body didn't like it. So I went back to just regular water, bottled water. I juiced during chemo. After chemo, I juiced a little bit, but not much. Again, I just continued to work out. Big deal for detoxing for me, because you're sweating toxins out. You're relieving stress. So I detoxed. I hope this answers the question. This is part 1 of this series. So I will come back on, and I will probably address these same questions with more detail. This is not scripted, so I'm speaking off the top of my head. But as I'm going, the next one I will be scripting so that I'm not repeating things. So, okay, I hope that answered question number 1. Let's go to question number 2. Number 2 came from my second mom, and Evelyn Faye Hill, and her question is, what was your initial reaction when you were told that you had cancer? Your strength was very encouraging, so how did you do it with such grace and motivation? Personally, I've always been a very positive person, and I've always had a strength that probably was passed on to me from the women in my family. And I broke down initially, I think like anyone would, and that was during the biopsy. And my biopsy experience was not that great, which caused extra anxiety and stress. So on the particular day of the first biopsy, I did have a breakdown. That was just the initial being told on the table that, yeah, this is cancer. And pretty much that's how it went. Yeah, this is cancer. And no bedside manners, nothing. So I got on the elevator from leaving that biopsy, which we had to stop because I was freaked out from the way that the provider was giving the biopsy. After that initial breakdown, I went home, I prayed, I had a little talk with myself and Jesus, and I decided that I am a fighter and I will fight to win. And this is a process that I will go through and get through. And from that moment, I decided, hey, no more being down. Yes, I had my moments, but my goal was not to let stress and anxiety kill me, because you're already being told that you have something that could kill you. So I wasn't going to add to stinking breast cancer. So I decided to live. I continued to do the things that I love to do. I chatted with my doctor. What can I do? What can I not do? He said, I know you like scotch. You can't have it right now, but you can have a glass of wine, not in excessive amounts. I know, and just like I said, from us talking and him getting to know me, he said, I know you like sushi and I know you like oysters. Can't have them right now. And he said to stay away from buffets. I was never a big buffet eater in the first place, so that was no big deal. But, you know, I chose to continue to frequent the places that I love to go to eat out at places that I could eat out at. I know that my immune system would be compromised. Suppressed, I'm sorry. But I chose to go to places that was safe for me to go. And no, I wouldn't go right, the same day as chemo or the day after chemo. But when I felt like doing things, I did them. I still continued to get up in the mornings, have, my coffee, whatever I felt like having that was allowed for me to have, that would not counteract the illness from the chemo illness that you normally get. I've always been a very determined person. That I can say about myself with certainty. And that's what I chose to do. Be determined, to be a fighter, and to fight to win. And that's what I did. I had a great support system, and that always makes a difference. I hope that answered that question. And again, I will probably address that at some other time as well. I'm going to try and keep this short because I am a talker. And I will come back on another day to address this in more detail and to talk a little bit more about my journey. But my entire page will not be dedicated to my breast cancer journey, but it is who I am now. It is what I call my new normal. You will hear me say that a lot on my channel. And I do want to continue to be a public voice for breast cancer because it was given to me. And I'm not saying it was a gift. That's not my point. What I'm saying is that he chose me to be a fighter, and I want to teach others how to fight, whether it's breast cancer or what I currently have now, which is rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, leukemia, anything. Anything, you have to have a positive attitude and a positive outlook on life, because stress alone is a killer. Okay, number 3. Number 3 was from my sister Kayla, and she was in turn telling me about a show called For Life. And she said last night a character had cancer and was dying, and her regret was always putting things off because she always thought she had more time. What would you tell people who have never experienced cancer or any kind of illness about choosing time wisely and always living for today? Because tomorrow isn't promised. Well, pretty much what I just said a moment ago about how I handled it is the same advice I would give. You're absolutely right. Tomorrow is not promised, whether it's a car accident, an illness, a personal accident. Life is not promised. So I feel every day should be lived like it's your last. Meaning, live in 3L mode. You will hear me say this a lot. I love to talk about 3L mode. It's my live, laugh, and love. Do it on a daily basis. Be a forgiving person, because holding on to doubt, regret, and unforgiveness is stress and anxiety. So make you a live list. I no longer call it a bucket list. Once I was diagnosed, I made a live list. And I decided these are the things that I want to do while I'm living, not do them because I'm dying. I want to do these things because I'm living. And I started running and working out right towards the end of radiation. And that became something I ended up putting on my live list. Was I wanted to run in some state parks. Number one was Central, of course. And I did. And I did that. I believe that was 2018. So I was able to cross that off my live list. So I recommend that you make you a list of things that you want to do while you're living and live every day like it's golden. I can't stress that enough. Never take life for granted because it's not promised. So every day, make you a list of things you want to accomplish. Don't be afraid. Give up your fear for faith and step out of the box and just do it. Do it, do it. I wear a lot of hats, and I know people are like, oh man, she does this, or she started this, she started that. I do. But those are things that I want to try. I may not like all of them. I may not finish all of them because guess what? Maybe halfway through I didn't like it or it wasn't for me. But I cannot say that I did not try it, including this YouTube channel, because I have procrastinated for quite a while about starting this channel and what direction I wanted to go in. And so because I wear many hats, I will be sharing what's under those hats with you all. If this channel will be about my new normal, because after the cancer, after the remix is the after party, because it's real. Your life will change and you have to learn to adapt to your new normal. And that's with anything you go through: a divorce, a new baby, a death, an illness, a job change, COVID-19. We have to learn to live in our normalness, as you call it, and as I call it, my new normal. So again, thank you all. I do want to add that my aunt Evelyn also said, you kept us strong, Mika. Watching you match cancer's punches blow by blow every step of the way has brought us to victory. Thank you, Aunt Evelyn, and thank you, Faye, and everybody else, Kayla, for submitting the questions, and thank you guys for all of your kind words and how I handled this journey. It was not easy, but I did it, and I'm here by the grace of God. And I thank all of my supporters, my family, my friends, my caregivers, which was my family, my son, whom I love with all of my heart, who was there for me, even told me one day to put on my big girl panties. So I will continue to do these videos. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me about the diagnosis, after the diagnosis, the treatment, please feel free to comment below. And please make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. And please share this information. Have a great day, everyone, and please stay safe.